The Young and the Restless Spoilers. Jack Abbott sat quietly in his office at Jabbot, deep in thought as the hum of the city droned on outside. The situation had become more complex than even he had anticipated. Family, business, and old grudges. He knew that these were treacherous waters, but he had navigated them all his life. This time, however, the stakes felt higher. Kyle had been reckless, making choices that jeopardized everything Jack had worked for. Now, Jack was left with a difficult decision, one that could alter the future of his family and his company. It was time to bring Tucker McCall back to Genoa City. The tension between Jack and Tucker had once seemed irreconcilable. Years of bad blood, betrayals, and corporate scheming had created a chasm between them, but Jack had learned one thing in all his years of playing the corporate game. Sometimes, your worst enemy can become your greatest ally. That's why he had invited Tucker back, not just to mend fences, but to use Tucker's influence to bring Kyle back into the family fold. Tucker, now the shadowy owner of Glissade, was key to Jack's plan. Most people believed Victor Newman was the one pulling the strings behind Glissade, but Jack knew the truth. Tucker had masterminded the entire scheme, positioning himself behind the scenes while Victor acted as a mere figurehead. Audra, Tucker's close confidant, knew this secret as well, but she was powerless for now, unable to move or act until she was officially recognized as Tucker's heir in controlling his assets. It was a delicate game, one that Jack and Diane had become adept at playing. Jack and Diane had learned to put aside their personal grievances with Tucker for the sake of their greater goal. They knew they needed him on their side if they wanted to pull Kyle back into the family fold and ensure his future at Jabbot. Tucker, for his part, seemed willing to play along. His time in Paris with Ashley had softened him, and now, with his romantic life in a good place, his return to Genoa City would serve dual purposes: reconciliation with Jack and attending the wedding of his son, Devon, to Ashley's daughter, Abby. The tangled web of relationships didn't escape Jack's notice. Tucker, Devon's father, was about to marry into the same family that his son was joining through marriage. Abby and Devon's wedding was just around the corner, and it would be a momentous occasion for both families. Yet, amidst the celebration, there were power plays brewing beneath the surface, and Jack knew it. Meanwhile, Kyle was seething. His recent actions had led to him being ousted from the family business, a consequence he hadn't anticipated. Victor, whom Kyle had trusted, had misled him. Kyle thought he was positioning himself in Victor's favor, securing his future in Newman Enterprises and leveraging his father's wealth, but the rug had been pulled from beneath his feet. Victor had manipulated him, and now Kyle was left in the cold. Jack, in a surprising move, had decided to offer the role of CEO to Audra, someone who had once been an outsider but had proven herself capable and trustworthy. She had insight in Tucker's dealings and connections that could strengthen Jabbot. Kyle's mistakes had left a void, and Jack was determined not to let personal feelings cloud his judgment. Jabbot needed stability, and Audra could provide it. Audra, however, was biding her time. Her hands were tied when it came to Glissade, unable to take control of the company while Tucker's shareholding structure remained opaque. She had grown frustrated, knowing the truth but being powerless to act on it. But with Jack's backing, she could at least secure a place of power at Jabbot, a stepping stone towards something bigger. Kyle, now facing the reality of his situation, had no choice but to return to Jack and Diane. The sting of betrayal by Victor was fresh, and for the first time, Kyle realized just how far off track he had gone. Swallowing his pride was the only way forward. He needed to repair the damage he had done to his relationships with his family, especially with his father. As Kyle stood outside the Abbott mansion, his mind raced with conflicting emotions. Would Jack welcome him back? Could he ever forgive him for aligning with Victor? And more importantly, could Kyle forgive himself for the mistakes that had led him here? Back in Paris, Tucker and Ashley reveled in their newfound happiness, blissfully unaware of the turmoil brewing back in Genoa City. They were preparing to return for Abby and Devon's wedding, a union that would forever link the two families. But Tucker, always the strategist, knew that once back in town, he would have to face the challenges awaiting him. His alliance with Jack would be put to the test, and his relationship with Ashley could be strained by the corporate maneuvering to come. For now, they enjoyed the serenity of Paris, but the shadows of Genoa City loomed large. The game was far from over, and all the players, Jack, Tucker, Kyle, Audra, and even Victor, were moving their pieces into place for the battles that would soon unfold. As Jack prepared for the wedding and Tucker's return, he felt a mix of anticipation and dread. The coming days would define not just the future of Jabot, but the future of his family. And while he had always been a master of the game, Jack knew that even the best-laid plans could unravel in the blink of an eye. In the world of Genoa City, family and business were inextricably linked, and sometimes those ties became nooses. The wedding of Devon and Abby would be a joyous occasion, but beneath the surface, the maneuvering and betrayal continued. And Jack, as always, would be right at the center.